All right. Let's mic up, champ.
Oh, we got lab mics and shit.
That's all I got today.
Should I wear my Fury shirt?
Pop the top off, man.
Yeah.
I got to see the Fury shirt. The furry shirt.
Oh, I love the Fury shirt.
There you go. All right, let me mic you up.
What are we talking about?
We're just having a conversation.
Okay. Are you prepared for this?
A little bit.
Are you gonna cancel me?
Yeah, no. This is a boxing podcast.
Okay, a boxing podcast.
So, what's going on, man?
You know, I'm living the dream. I'm at the gym.
Hey, that's actually a good thing you wore that shirt because there's big fight news today. I don't know if you've seen on the gram.
They just signed it. They say December maybe.
I don't know if I believe it.
I kind of won't believe it until the bell rings.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Like, when's the Ngannou fight?
October 28th, I think.
So that's pretty quick.
Is that even a fight?
I don't know. I mean,
it's like not even an exhibition.
Is he even training for it?
Yeah, Tyson. I've been watching that at home with the Furies.
Yeah, but I think that was filmed like last year.
No, I know, but it's just seeing a peek into his,
Yeah. I only watched the first episode. I didn't have time to watch the rest of it.
I mean, that was sufficient, really.
Yeah,
it doesn't get much. Although watching, who is Usyk Joshua 2, right? Is like somewhere like halfway through the season, they show him watching an Usyk fight. Yeah, it was Joshua 2, and he's just losing his mind. I'd knock both these bums out in 10 minutes.
Oh man, okay, I might have to watch that part.
That moment was pretty good.
I mean, well, that's one thing I want to talk to you about. What I got you here is how much of an entertainment industry boxing is, and how much crossover do you think there is in like the rap game, the hip hop world? You know,
I mean, I think athletes in general and music is always interesting because it's like maybe each one wants to be the other one.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like the alter ego thing, like, you know,
that's true
like,
too. Yeah,
you create this version of yourself that's untouchable, undefeatable. You know, ultra confident.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of crossover, especially in rap, because like in a band, you have like your guitar, you have your amps and everything to create even more of a persona, right? Beyond just yourself. And when you're rapping, you just got yourself in the microphone, right? You're not. It's like, I guess some of these.
I think the interesting parallel partially is the competitive aspect. Like, I remember when I first got into rap, right? It was people would be like, "Oh, well, let's like battle," and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna like fight with our art," and it's like it almost in like a weird. It's baked into the culture, right? Whereas like guitar, it's not. I mean, yeah, you could have like a solo battle or something, but that's not like a thing. There's not a whole like cottage industry around that. Yeah. So there's this competitive element, and also similarly, you know, there are some rap groups, but by and large, it's a highly independent thing. So not only is it competitive like sports, but it's independent or alone like boxing.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's how you get the lone boxer coming up the tunnel with the lone rapper, right, doing the ring walk music. Yeah.
There's really not much to hide behind, and also like I think you told me one time when you're writing verses, bars or whatever, you know, you put more words in one song than like say like a rock group would put into like an entire album, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So the lyricism of it and the work that goes on behind the scenes before you even get to the studio, before you even get to the performance, is like boxing. You have to put in a ton of work before you even get there, right?
Yeah, 3 16-bar verses and maybe a 4 8-bar chorus. It's like it's an absurd just length of content, and then you kind of almost deny the work that goes into it because you just want to seem like, oh, I'm just off the cuff.
Right. I just came out the womb like this.
Right.
And boxing, I think, you know, people take pride in the work ethic, but another similarity too, they get to guys at the top of the game that people think this is the standard, like the Canelos and the Floyd Mayweathers. And then what would be like that? Like the
Drake. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course you got your all-time greats too, and the arguments about that. I see these people's rappers lists. Oh, this is my list, and just like boxing. Oh no, this is my list of top 10s in the history of all time. And it's all subjective, right? But you can't deny people's skills, even if you don't like their style.
Right.
In boxing, you might not like Canelo, but you can't deny his accomplishments.
And I kind of like in boxing how you have pound for pound because you have to qualify greatness because you're comparing people that are non-comparable, right? Because they never fought, different weight classes, whatever. But in like rap, you never do that. You're just like, this is my top 5. And it's like, well, for what style?
No weight classes
what
in
kind
rap.
Of what? Right. Exactly. You're just comparing apples to oranges and then picking which one you like more.
That's interesting, man. So yeah, we got this Fury fight.
Furry. We got a furry fight.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
real top tier knockoff.
What's
right there.
gonna happen? How's it gonna go down?
I don't know, man.
What's
I
your
think
prediction?
I think Fury's just too big.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be able to smother and shut down the better boxer. I think Usyk might be more skilled, but it's a big monster of a man to try to box. He'll just do what he has to do to smother, cover, push, shove, hold.
Just use his size. To his
Yeah,
advantage.
he'll reach out and just shut the water off at the faucet like George Foreman. Just
Mhm.
lean on him, you know.
Do you think that Dubois kind of gave the blueprint in a way? Is it to the body?
To the nuts, I think.
To the
is
nuts,
blueprint. Yeah.
Was it? Oh, let's get into that.
I don't know, man.
That's what people want, man. They want controversy here. Was it a low blow?
The referee said it wasn't. So it's like when if they tell us the president is Trump, then okay, he's the president. You can't say, it was rigged. Who cares? The results are in.
Right.
We got to move forward. So that's where I go as a coach. I've had to accept losses that I didn't think were losses, but you got to hold your head up and keep moving forward. So in the video, I can't say, man. I'd say it was. I think it was a low blow.
But at best, you think it could have gone either way. It went the way it did, which is how the rule reads, right? The ref makes the call.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
A lot of power in there.
And if anything, he should have just been like, "Oh, okay, whatever it was, right to the body. The rest of the rounds, you're going to be out of here."
Yeah, I know, but then
he got jabbed and quit.
Right, a great comeback in that fight, but yeah interesting for Dynamite Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce, the Juggernaut. They both got kind of knocked out of the top 5 in the last couple of months here.
Yeah.
They went from prospect to maybe gatekeeper pretty quick with those losses.
Very true. And I guess, how old is Dubois? He's on the younger side, right?
Yeah. Joyce is 38. He's like my age.
That's like, dude, come
on. But Zhang, he's 40 something.
Yeah, but he's on the come up. He's on the rise. Like,
Fury looks older than all those dudes.
That is,
and he's 32
true.
Or something.
The fact that I'm older than Fury terrifies me. Like when I look at him, I'm like, how is this possible?
I know, he's a
this
beast.
Is not good.
He's a beast. And the other fight announcement was Big Charlo, Jamal.
Whoa, really?
Facing Jose Benavidez Jr.
Face depression? Oh, he's fighting.
The controversy there, right? Yeah, that got announced today, and I thought interesting because little Charlo came out with a statement saying he's not communicating with his brother.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's just focusing on the fight. I don't care if he shows up to my fight or not. I hope he gets his shit together. But, paraphrasing. And then today, the day before his big fight, his brother kind of steals some of his shine. Says, "Hey, I'm coming back." I wonder if that's gonna.
Did you say he's fighting Benavidez?
Benavidez, Jose Benavidez.
Okay.
The older brother of the two. And now this is going to be on the same card as his brother's fight with Andrade. So it's the Benavidez brothers big show.
Okay, that's cool.
So I think it's a huge fight for him.
Yeah.
It could go.
I mean, he's been out for like 2 years.
We wanted to see the Caleb Plant fight after the slap.
Right, of course.
But they gotta marinate that one for another year or two.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple more backstage encounters.
Kind of like deep beefs.
Yeah.
Just burying them.
Yeah. I was thinking about this earlier, like personalities in boxing, people who created this thing. Even the Charlos got their Lions thing. Bronze Bomber, Tyson Fury. He didn't make a name up, but he definitely switches into a different kind of guy.
Yeah.
Then we see that on the show.
Maybe that's him though.
All the time? Is he like yell at his kids like that and stuff?
I mean, yeah, he's more like bombastic or whatever, but I would say like his core energy is just like sporadic, right? Like it's just crazy in all directions.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what my favorite part of the show is. His wife just anytime he does anything bad, she's like, "Well, that's his bipolar. That's just his bipolar." And I'm like, "No, he's just being a dick. That's not how that works."
Yeah, mental health is not an excuse for bad behavior,
and it's just not how that mental illness even like functions in that way.
Oh, right. Bipolar is
where like
not just
it's more like I think like a large swing in disposition over time, where you can be in a manic state or but not like a mercurial like you forgot the fucking groceries like oh, it's okay.
Yeah, that's more like split personalities or something.
And that's more how he seems to be.
Right. Okay. Well, that's definitely a strength in boxing because working with fighters even on the amateur level. We talk about nerves a lot and getting scared, but what I don't think people realize is it's a combination of just regular plain old stage fright. Like like just imagine 100 people stop and look at you, walking down the street. You're going to get freaked out. Now that they're going to look at you. You're going to get even more freaked out. At least in boxing, we have something to do with ourselves while people are looking at us.
Right.
It wasn't like in junior high where you had to go up and do the rehearsal and you're like, oh, I hate this. Like,
this is your thing. You practice for this. Yeah.
That's why I got to talk my guys through it because they think they're scared of the fight, but they're just scared of being in front of the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a Ukrainian kid. He's like, "Oh, there's a lot of people here," because he hadn't fought in America before, and I was like, "No, there's not."
Right.
Because luckily for me, I'd come off working some pro fights, so there's like over 1,000 people.
Right.
And now we're at
It's all
the gymnasium, and there's 100 people. It's like there's not that many people. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me. Of course, I'm not the one fighting, but still, I try to kind of carry the right energy for my guys. I'm not going to get worried about 100 people. I don't even worry about 1,000. You know.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to work your way up. But either way,
you got to learn, I think, to just eliminate it. Like in music, I mean, performing, you performed in front of people too. It's like I used to play in a group, and we took pride in our live show. I think in spite of nervous energy.
Sure.
And a lot of it, I felt like a lot of times I was coming, especially as we got bigger and would play in front of, a couple thousand people. It's like you walk off the stage almost having blacked out. Like, did we do a good job? Because it's like you just have to go to another place, and you're so well rehearsed or practiced, you know exactly what you want to do. You just execute. And if you're conscious of the fact that you're executing relative to the expectations of the people in the room, you're going to psych yourself out.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to try not to, that's interesting. Try not to think about what you're doing. I think that's why we train so much in boxing, to eliminate the conscious from the subconscious and just go through the motions. You should never be thinking, throw the jab. Just like you're not thinking, what are the lyrics to the next line?
Yeah.
Why,
don't think ahead.
It's already there.
Right.
It's already
you
there.
Picture like playing a guitar solo. It's like, all right, is my finger dexterity like better if I like super concentrate on not messing up and like how everybody's watching me? It's like, no, you're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
But if you're just letting it go, like you've done a million times before, it's natural.
Sure. So part of the entertainment industry of boxing is people want to see a good fight, win, lose, or draw.
Sure.
I think the same goes for music. They want to see a good show, whether it's the most technically proficient individual capable of performing that task. Right? There's a lot of shredding guitar players that can sit in their bedroom and play every note of some Bach, masterpiece.
Yeah.
But there's no emotional performance involved. They'd rather see a guy hammer out, a Nirvana riff and headbang like crazy and say, "Oh, I'm feeling something now." So in boxing, you see that too. That a puncher can punch their way out of not being great just through entertainment value,
and be more well received on a fame level than someone with 10 times the skill.
Yeah, yeah, and so many layers. How about a guy who can do it all in the gym, but he can't do it at the fight? A sparring partner, but he can't ever put it together under the lights.
Right.
I'm sure there's plenty of musicians in that point too that they want to do it, but man, they can't overcome the nerves. They don't have that ability to separate from what's happening here and what they want. I mean, so that's why we get these guys at the top. A guy like Canelo or something, he's like this unicorn of circumstance and personality and nurture
skill,
and nature,
execution, and reception all together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the last comparison I want to make is when people do get some fame in boxing and then they ride on it. I think you see that in music and rap too. Guys who are like, they sell a lot of records and then but you go see the concert, you're like, what is this?
Right.
Like, this guy shouldn't be opening for me.
It's really the ability to stay hungry, right?
So,
a lot of not just music, I think artistic people have a few good things in them, right? A lot of directors like had 2 films where you're like, wow, those are like earth-shattering, like amazing. And then ever since then, those were your 2. A lot of musicians come out with their one record that you don't realize actually is 10 years of content that led to that first album. And then they're like, oh, do that again, but do it next year. The set follow-up albums maybe not as good, or maybe it's still pretty good, but then the third, fourth, it fades out. Maybe boxing, I imagine it's a similar paradigm where you're so hungry, you got to the top, you became champ, and then you blow it all like Andy Ruiz.
Yeah,
partying and
and then 6 months later, your manager's like, you got to go do it again, and you're like, man, again?
Yeah.
I don't want to do this again. I think that a lot of the public does judge young boxers harshly for losing weight or gaining weight in between fights and losing focus, but they don't realize like a guy like Tank or somebody, he's been boxing since he was a child. So by the time he got that big money, he got to relax. He's like, finally, I get to relax.
Right.
Just let me fucking relax.
Right.
Because for 20 years, he didn't have a day out of the gym, I'm sure, where he wasn't getting in a sparring session or some hard training or whatever,
I respect the relax. It's one of those things where you almost feel bad for them empathetically because, all right, if you just want to retire and ride off in the sunset because you got paid, that's a happy ending for everybody. But it's saying, no, I want to stay the champ, stay on top, but not put the work in, right? And then end up, you just watch that fall from grace. It's
so
tragic.
I mean, what would the better business game plan be? Because it seems the business of boxing, much like the music business, wants just to repeat success at
Mm,
whatever cost. So they just choose up boxers and spits them out.
right.
You get 3 good fights out of you, we make a lot of money. We're on our way. Same thing with the music industry. So last thing we'll talk about before we get to work today is what's a boxer you could relate to a rapper that has had a lifelong career, a successful long career
Mm.
without any unnecessary nonsense, and is still performing, is still like somebody going like, who could that be?
I mean, I think one of the most obvious answers that jumps right to my mind is Mayweather Drake, because I think both are relatively at the top of the game in terms of, probably skill set as well as, monetary, right? They both had somewhat curated careers. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but they organized themselves in a very
Absolutely.
professional way
Yeah.
that was, Floyd's would be the first to tell you it's about the business of boxing.
Absolutely.
And he created a lot of that
luck.
business.
Was not a lot of luck involved in that.
He created a persona and backstage access and all these things, and right. And he realized he could play multiple characters in that, and he could be the villain or the protagonist, and either way he was making money at the end of the
Absolutely.
day. And I think Drake's orchestrated like a similar career, but the interesting thing about both of them complementarily is they both really did back it up at the end of the day with skill.
Okay.
And I was somebody who hated on, probably both of them at various times. Certainly Drake for a time.
They make it easy, like you said, it's part of their brand.
But at
Hate
the
to hate
end of
me.
the day, I try to evaluate the skill set and be like, well, all right, Drake, you're going in. Like, how can I can't, undeniable at a certain point.
Sure. That's a good point, Mel. I appreciate you giving me. Hey, tell us about your records real quick before we get to boxing.
Dust Raps of Blues. You can find me, anywhere, Instagram, whatever, Bandcamp, Spotify. Got a record just came out called Problems. Got a new one coming up with Solomon, Untitled. It's gonna be some good boxing music. Play it in the gym.
All right, let's get to work. All right, give me that jab. Move your hip, jab.